Hey guys, thank you for joining me again today. We're going to model this and also animate it to press this ball down up, right? Okay, let me turn on this key press so that you see what I'm doing. Great. Now select this, hit X and delete. Shift A to add a cylinder here. Cylinder has started with vertices, so we have to scale it down to this point. So here we can see the dimension. So now we can select this and set it to 7 centimeter and then zoom all the way down there. All right, this is what we have. So and again, to hide that, I have to scale this in Z direction to get something like this. We go to 1, go to the front and then align this perfectly. Does this make sense? Okay, now we can scale it a little bit up. Great. Go to edit mode and select all these edges here. Before we do that, I hit 2 to go to edges and select all this. So extrude and scale down this so I can get the handle. Now E again to scale this in this direction. Now this is what we have. Now you can take this up, go back to object mode, hit G and take this up in Z direction. This is what we have. I have to select this face, hit 3 so switch over to this panel here. So this is 1, 2, 3, right? And you can easily hit tab to switch over from edit mode to object mode. Shift D to copy it and take it down here. So hit 1 and set it 2 for the edges, and then extrude this in Z direction. Have this 1 to check if this is okay. Okay, you can hit G to take it up again in Z direction. This is okay. Let's adjust that a little bit. Alright, now want this to come down and press the ball at the center against this. Let's add a little bit design here. So now select this, all these edges, A to extrude and S to scale. Then we extrude again in this direction. We can also extrude and also get this down to this end. So this is perfect. Okay, let's extrude again and scale this down. All right, here we can add a loop cut and take it down to this end. Great. And select all these faces, hit 3, select all these faces and maybe extrude this. Great. Now going back to object mode, this is what we have. So now we're going to add a modifier here. Add this bevel modifier, set this to 3 segments, offset, and we can do 0.04, should be around 7 centimeter. All right, now that we have this, the next thing we can do is to add a shades mode. So to add the ball, we have to hit Shift A, go here and UV sphere. Oh, this is huge. Let's do scale this down to this point. As you can see what we have. So scale this down to this, hit G and take it up. Scale it down a little bit again. Let's add a subdivision surface modifier and shades mode. It's time for the animation. So we want to get this down to press this ball against this. So first of all, we have to separate these two so we can animate only one. So we switch back to edit mode, select this face, use L to select all of them and P to separate the selection. Great. Switching back to object mode, we can have this separately and we take this up. So at frame 1, we want to have this, hit 1 on the numpad to go to the front view. We want this to come down. Before we do that, let's add a plane here. So we can do Shift A, mesh and plane. Okay, take this down to this point. I think this is way big. All right, now we hit 1 again, and now at frame 1 we want to set this location. So while hovering over this, you just hit I and click on location. So you have this keyframe here. We can go all the way to maybe 20 and do the same thing, or you just shift T to copy that and go to this place. So all the way to 100. We can then G to take this down in the Z direction and get to this point, and then I again, location. We'll have this done, and then you can shift T to selecting this to shift it to get to 120, so that when it animates to this point, it will stay for a while before going up again. At maybe 180, we can copy this initial location and set it here, and then copy it again as it is, so that it will also stay a little while before starting over again. Now that means we have to set this end frame to 200. Great. Now this is what we have. So press this against this and then go up again. Great. Now it's time to animate the ball. So we select the ball, and here we can go to this and then add the basics and keys. We have to go to edit mode 1 for vertices, and then we have to move this down. So for us to achieve what we want, we have to turn on this proportional editing. Now selecting only this vertex, hit G to take this down a little bit, and then in Z direction you can use the scroll button to adjust this. Go here for the wireframe, we can turn this to this angle to select this vertex again, and G again to take it up, using this scroll button to adjust things, Z direction. All right, let's just select all of this and move it up so that we see what we're doing. Now at this point we can scale this in Z direction and then scale it up. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go back to this mode. I think we also need to scale this down a little bit. All right, select all of these edges and G again to take this down. So in Z direction we can reshape this a little bit so that it goes inside and this one pops up. We can do same here, select all the edges here, G in Z direction, and add a little bit adjustment there. So now this is what we have. So we can hit A, go to 1 and set this down to this. We'll then animate this. So if we turn this down, you will see that it's taking the shape of the adjustment we just did. Right now, so when we go to this frame, at frame 1 we'll have this set to 0, right? So until when it gets to this moment, so at this point here we hover on this and add a location, so that when it now gets down to this point 100, we then set it to 1, right? And when we set it to 1 here, we again use I here to add a keyframe. So this is what we have. Great. So we want to take this down more, and for us to do that we have to select this. At this point we can get rid of these two, and at 1, this 100, we can use G again and take this down to ensure that it's touching this very well. We can hit 1 to check this out. You can set this up a little bit, and then I to add the location, Same thing, just shift V and set it down to maybe 120. So now altogether, this is what we have from start. You see that? So now after this brush here, we also have to select this and take this back. So from here we can copy this keyframe, shift D to this point, and then go to 180 or maybe 160 and copy this first keyframe so that it will bounce back gradually. Now something like this. Now let's check it out. Shift A, go to light and then add an area light. Now take it up to this direction, Z direction here, and scale it down. Okay, this is just okay. Now we can copy this, shift D and take it to this angle and then rotate it to flash from here. Some way we can select this again, shift D to this angle and rotate it to flash from here. Alright, so now let's go to shading, material view. Alright, so here we can select this to add a new node and zoom this a little bit, reduce this a little bit. Because we want this to be metal, so we'll have to increase this metallic option. Maybe we'll get to this point, then maybe reduce the roughness a little bit. Okay, now let's take this roughness up a little, maybe to this point, and then reduce this metallic a little bit. Great. Now we can name this metal, and we can also copy that here. So we just select this, go here and select the metal we have already set. Alright, now for the ball, we have to select the ball and add a new node. And here we can come down here to add a base color. Let's make this ball a little bit green. Okay, now zoom in a little bit, increase this surface IO. So here we can select this and give it a little bit reddish or yellowish color here. That will just add to the surface appearance, right? Okay, for this pen we have to add a new one and then set the color to anything. Maybe this is just okay. Alright, now let's go back to layout. The lights are too much, so we'll have to reduce it. This 100, this 500, this 10. So let's set this to 10 for example, and then this to 10. One wax. We can also set this to 1. Alright, you see that? Alright, let's do that again. So if you're observant enough, you see that there is a little bit of slack here. So immediately after it comes down, it should start going like at this point. So to do that, we can take this down a little bit more and then let's see what happens. Great. Alright, we can also copy this, shift D and take it to 200. The same thing. Alright, so this is what we have generally. Okay, the animation is done now. There are a couple of things you need to do. For example, you can set this from perspective mode to orthographic mode, and then It's time to add the camera. The camera is already there, so you can, if it is not there, you hit Shift A, go to camera and add the camera. And when you click on this camera icon here, you see where your camera is and you can adjust things. But now we cannot easily adjust things until we hit N and click this camera to view. So we'll position this exactly how we want it to be. We can adjust it further. Alright, this is okay. And then let's check it out again. Great, that makes sense. Alright, before you render, there are a lot of things you need to do to have your render work seamlessly. For example, first of all, we have to go to output and set some things out. Now, when we come down to this here, output, we can click here to set the folder we want to save this. So let's say we want to save it on document and we hit accept. Here, file format, we can change this to FFmpeg video. Encoding, yeah, let's go to encoding, set this out to MP4, and then output quality, we can send it to perpetually lossless. We are good to go. Another thing to do is to go to this render properties and then set this, come up here, change this from EV to cycles, change this device from this to GPU compute, and then this maximum sample, this 1024 is pretty much high, so I normally set it somewhere 64 so that I can render my stuff faster. So hit enter, then open this denoise and also do that here, maximum sample, let's do that 64. Alright, now so you go ahead and render animation by clicking render and animation, and after that, this is exactly what it looks like. Alright guys, thank you for joining me in today's video. Don't forget to hit the like button and click on the red subscribe button and also turn on the bell notification. So until next time, keep creating and keep earning more income. Thank you.